Alright guys, here's a quick how-to video on finding relative mins and maxes on your calculator. I'm going to use one of the examples from our worksheet over here, and it's just following all the directions that were in the second part of this worksheet. So I'm just going to start off with putting this equation here, the practice number 1, into the calculator. Probably familiar with this, just going to go to the y equals. I have another problem there, so I'm going to clear it out. And give me a second, I'm going to put this one in. Alright, so I'm double checking that everything looks okay. Negative x to the 4th minus x cubed plus 3x squared plus 2x. Make sure the exponents are exponents. Everything else looks good. So if I graph this as it is now, I'm in my standard window, and if you need to fix yours, it's zoom right here, and then 6 is our standard window. So it's going to give me the same graph I had before. And it looks like I have two relative maxes here, right? One here and one here, and then a relative minimum in the middle. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit to get a better view, and I'm going to actually set my own window because I definitely don't need all the way to -10 and +10 on the left. So I'm going to go to -5, and +5 and see if that helps a little. Alright, so there we go, looks good. So find the relative max or min. I'm going to use the second button and go to this calc menu, and that's to calculate anything you need on the graph. So you can find values, zeros, and here's what we're going to use for this one, minimums and maximums. So I'm going to start with the max. So I just hit the max button, and you're going to see this little blinking cursor show up. So I want to take that cursor and move to the, it says give them a left bound. So I want to move the cursor to the left of the relative max I'm looking for, which is this one, and I'm going to hit enter. Alright, and then the same thing, it wants a right bound. So again, you can use the arrow to move the cursor, or you can put in a value. So I'm going to actually put in 0 here and hit enter. So now you see that up here these two arrows have kind of zoned off where you're looking for the max. So your relative max has to be in there. It's going to give you the highest y value in that range you gave them. And it says take a guess. So that's if there's more than one, you want to move your cursor towards the max, but if you got a nice zone, you should be fine. Alright, and there it gives me my relative max, -1.52, which is what I had in your answers if you looked at it on the video. Depending on your window, this may be off by a few decimals, so you can use that as you may. Alright, so I'm going to do one more here for the relative min, just to give you guys one more example to go through. So same thing, I'm going to go to that second calculate menu, and this time I'm going to choose the min, just to the max. And same thing, I want to make a left bound, so I'll just move over here. A right bound, I'm just going to type in 1 for this one. And my minimum is definitely within the boundaries. I'm going to guess over around 0. And again, it doesn't matter wherever you guess, just giving it an idea. So there we go. My minimum is -3.05, and I rounded it up to -3.06 up here, -0.311, and -0.305. That's, I misspoke there. All right. So you can do the same thing when you find that other max over here. We can see on my answers, it ended up being 1.06. 3.03 right about, so that ended up being the absolute max, the highest point on your graph. Alright, so go ahead, try it out for this one, make sure you agree with my absolute max, and then give it a try for number 2.